What's good, everyone? Nightcage here. Alright, here we go. So this is the first video. This is one of 8 in the Chosen of Angron series that I'm going to be doing, depicting my Chosen of Angron warband. We are going over the war council called the Cauldron of Blood. And this is the first of the warlords on the war council. Okay, this is Dinathor the Black and his Flame Scorpion Legion. Just a quick blurb on Dinathor. He was the captain of the Destroyer Cadre during the Great Crusade under Angron, and basically his responsibility as captain was to take down monstrous Xenos. Now, Dinathor has taken a completely different turn. So on the War Council, his responsibility and his warband. His responsibility is primarily, he is the emissary of Angron. His job is to make sure that he maintains a relationship between Angron and his allies. His primary responsibility is to raise cults and to maintain Angron's foothold on the worlds that they've taken, and to disseminate information and develop schemes for future campaigns for worlds they plan to take. And the kind of thing that Dinathor does, he's known by 1,000 different names. And the reason that he maintains his secrecy is so that he can manipulate the powers that be into following his will. For example, Zorik over here. Let me move over to Zorik. This is one of Dinathor's arch heretics, Zorik. He used to be as you can see by the body type, he used to be an inquisitor. And he's now been corrupted to Khorne, and he now serves Lord Dinathor as his lieutenant. So what you see here is the work of the Lord Dinathor. As you can see, he has mutants. He has traitor guardsmen. Okay. So one of the most important things about Lord Dinathor is that he maintains a level of secrecy and to keep the Imperium off balance. He does a lot of infiltration. So a lot of the work that Dinathor does is kind of behind the scenes. And what you see with him is very rarely what you get. So, for example, his Flame Scorpion warband looks very similar to the Lost in the Dam. And that's done for a reason. Because the idea is to maintain the confusion. So the Imperium can't tell what's happening at what time. So Lord Dinathor, his warband is primarily made up of Chaos Space Marines, and the flames is a symbol of his legion. As you can see, his flame sword here. The flaming skull is a symbol of his legion, of his warband, and there's skulls all over his marines, everywhere. You would expect that from a Khorne legion. The Khorne banners flying. Once it's all said and done, once I get this thing completely painted and get my conversions completed, it's going to be Khorne insignias all over the place. But the main thing, with this first Lord on the War Council is all about political control. Is all about political control, creating political unrest, creating unrest on a world to uproot the infrastructure of that world. By the time the other lords show up, I'm gonna flip this really quick. By the time these guys show up, Skyrak, Eureka, Hrothgar, by the time these lords show up, the invasion is already underway. When they show up, they're coming for one reason. They're not as cunning as Dinathor is. When they show up to destroy things. So Dinathor has a very important role to be the lowest ranking lord on the War Council, but his role primarily is to begin the campaign, to maintain information, to feed information to the other lords, to prepare for the upcoming invasion. He also has a continuing web of political upheaval where he is always meddling in the business of other governing bodies so that he can weasel his way in and start manipulating control to increase the size of his war band. He is always increasing the size of his war band by recruiting more traitors to his cause. He's a strong orator. So his war band is going to have huge amounts of traitor guard, huge amounts of mutants, huge amounts of monsters, all types of monstrous trolls and scavenged war engines and scavenged battle tanks from the guard, whatever they can get their hands on. Dinathor's Legion does not have the means that what you'll see in the other legions, where they have hell drakes and they have forge fiends and they have all of these things. His legion is not like that. His legion is more about setting up the initial invasion and continuing the web of lies, continuing the web of deceit, setting the stage for the next war master to come in and take over things. And that next war master is always Hrothgar. And in the next video, we'll go over Hrothgar.